Ross, can you hear us?
I can.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, glad to.
We appreciate it. We are going to get started with questions. And to kick us off, we're going to start with Woody Kane. Go ahead, Woody.
Hey, Ross, appreciate your time. I want to skip over this week if you're okay with it and look ahead to next week at Nashville, what you think about the racing there. A lot of the guys have been there, a lot haven't. So you've had a bunch of experience, all of you have, at doing things we haven't done before. So going back to Nashville, what are you expecting? What are you doing to get ready?
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been there in two different truck tests myself, but my last lap on the track I crashed, so that was a long time ago, and I learned a lot. But since then, yeah, it sounds like there were some issues, finding the right Goodyear Eagle tire that we're going to use, and it sounds like the three manufacturers and Kurt Busch, my teammate, was the guy for Chevrolet to be there a couple different days over the last few months, and he definitely, I think they found what not to run for sure. And it sounds like they settled in on a good race tire. I've heard rumors about a resin or something put on the track, but I haven't seen any paperwork on that for sure. So curious if they do something in the track. But it sounds like as long as they have a tire that can, go the distance and fall off and do all the things that we're all really used to now, I think it'll be fine.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Bob Huckers. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Ross, there's been a lot of chatter about Sonoma and the move you made after the spin, and nobody blames you for the move, but everybody was wondering, like, where's he going to get relined up and everything? I'm curious, did you know, like, what you could do? Were you like, okay, I'm just going to get back on track where I can see I can, and whatever NASCAR has to do, they'll do? I'm curious just kind of what your thought process was through that.
Yeah, it all happened really fast, Bob, but I've looked up before and know the rules, and if there's a wreck down there, the odds of being able to turn ahead of time are pretty slim. But once I was facing backwards, I knew I couldn't turn right unless I let the whole field go by, so I was just turning left to get one out of the way, and I was still on the racing line. I was on the curbing, and then I saw the front stretch there and the exit of 11, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna grab some gears here. I never heard that there was a caution out or anything, and I saw guys to my left accelerating, so I just grabbed gears as fast as I could and blended in right in front of the 14, and thought that might be where it was at. And I guess the way the scoring loops worked, it was different than that. So yeah, I wasn't trying to do anything. I wasn't trying to make it look that bad. Once I watched the replay, I was like, ooh, that looks bad coming at that angle, but I was in control, and I was just remerging behind where I entered the corner. I definitely didn't gain time for sure. I sat there backwards for a few seconds, and I didn't gain any spots. So I was just trying to get back on track.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Sean with NBC2. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Ross. Is there just something, is it a coincidence, or is there something about these road courses that are making you a little bit more comfortable?
It's funny. I actually have been more comfortable on the road courses, and I think a lot of it goes back to all the years of Xfinity racing and 4 road courses a year at 4 totally different style tracks. And we ran in rain. I ran on scuff tires. I ran on stickers. I ran on low horsepower motors, compared to the field. I ran in good cars. So I've kind of done that through Xfinity for 4 or 5 years. And the Cup Series is a whole nother level, but I didn't expect it going into it. And Daytona road course was the second race of the year. I wasn't comfortable there and how to hustle the car, but now I found a good level inside the car of finding that limit, finding those brake zone limits, finding the tire fall off limits for a place like Sonoma of wheel spin versus lap time. So yeah, as crazy as it is, I have felt more comfortable, even though I don't feel like I'm a good right turner. Like, as simple as that sounds, like I don't turn right well. Like, I didn't do it growing up. So road course racing wasn't high on my list, but I've put a lot of time into it over the years, and a lot of just mental, just thinking through it and looking back through video, and simple as iRacing, just making laps at all these tracks to just where I can do it without thinking, all right, this is a left-hander, this is a right-hander, this is a big curb, little curb, sharp apex, late apex. Like, where all that stuff is just natural, like it is on the ovals, that took time, and it took a lot of effort.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Ross, you just kind of referenced about Nashville. The last time you were there, you crashed, but you kind of left it there. Can you give me the rest of the story of just kind of who you were with, what you were doing, and just what kind of happened that day, please?
Yeah, I shouldn't have told on myself there, Dustin. Yeah, it was a BKR truck. It was my first time with them. I didn't know what I was doing. Looking back, I didn't know. And we were just going through like a test plan. I don't think I'd ever tested before. Maybe I'd been there. I don't know if I'd ever been there, but like we're changing spindles, like something that you don't need to hustle the truck. You don't need to go try to make a lap time. You just need to go run 25 laps and evaluate if it's turning better, if it's tighter. And it was getting tighter, and I told him that. And I was working with Doug Randolph, who was Ryan Blaney's crew chief, and he's like, just run out you got 12 more laps or something. I was like halfway through the run, and I came around and I got tied off of 4, and I didn't lift, and I knocked the turn 4 wall down. So big learning moment there, and it's something that I've never forgotten. And it's taught me a lot about a lot of these 1.5 miles. Like early on, like in my career, I thought stay in the gas, and we were on the gas so much in the truck series that just stay in it. And that was a big moment for me. Humbling for sure. It was a rough week following that, but I just had to learn from it, and that was part of my early years for sure.
I also want to ask you, so far this season, raced 3 different road courses, been on dirt, some other short tracks. It's a lot more potentially closer competition, short for the field, and I'm curious to kind of get your perspective on how you view what the temperament of the field is with these races where you're clustered together, potentially closer together than maybe in years past. Is the temperature in the field rising? People not giving as much, or people taking more because you've got more slower corners at some of these courses? And I'm also kind of what it might be like looking ahead with more road courses coming up here the next few weeks.
Actually, I would say for me, it's a lot calmer and cooler, if you want to do it in temperature, than my years past of last year in Xfinity or the year before that in trucks. Like I was in those 2 years and those 2 series, I was pushing the limit on every pass, on every lap, every restart. Those races are shorter. I felt like clean air was even more king, especially in the truck series, like in 2019. And then even last year in the Xfinity series, like just go. And I really didn't have any friends. And I tried to table that and put that aside to start this year, but I still, in those instinctual moments of to block or not, or to pinch a guy or not, or let him go, I was still making those same moves, and I didn't realize it. And a few guys sat me down, and Kurt, my teammate, Joe Logano, we had a good conversation after a race, and it was like kind of eye-opening, like, okay, I got to pay it forward here a little bit. And really, so my, I'm racing, anywhere from 8th to 15th now, feels like, and we want to be a little bit better. But like our group there, if I'm coming from the back, like guys point me by, I point guys by, like it's crazy. So it's actually for me has been really eye-opening to work with these guys, and like, oh, let's both go faster, right? We're still racing, but it's I didn't, even though I told myself I was going to be better, I wasn't until I really had like honest conversations with some of my competitors and a teammate, and realized there's a lot better way to go about it.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Mark Garrow. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you. Ross, how do you feel about your season right now, what you've been through to this point, where you stand with 10 regular season races left?
Well, Mark, if you had asked me this after Las Vegas, which is a place that should have been humble enough to realize, like, I've spent time in the booth with you guys before for the Xfinity race, but I would have said it was terrible. I was not doing my job in the car. But ever since then, ever since Las Vegas, we've been on an upswing of just getting these cars figured out for me figuring myself out, being in a better spot mentally and not so down. And, if we finish a few spots worse than I think we should, I'm not just totally out of my mind on Sunday night and Monday morning and trying to, how do I reset and get ready for the next one? So it's been tough. And with 10 to go, regular season, I just trying to do my job. It's not even, it's not like, everybody looks at points. Anybody that says they don't is not telling the truth. But we want to just score as many points as we can and run as good as we can, and everything else will take care of itself. So I wouldn't grade myself very high this year. It's progressively getting better, and I feel like it's exponentially rising right now. So there's still a lot of work to do, though.
My other question, you mentioned, talking with Kurt. There's been a lot of talk about his future with the team. Would it be a big blow to lose him as a teammate? He's a guy that it sounds like you've leaned on here pretty much, or leaned on some.
Yeah. I've leaned on him a ton, but just how do I interact with other drivers to truly on track to set up comparisons and driving comparisons. But I have no idea, what else is going on. So he's my teammate, and all heads forward.
Thank you.
All right, our next question is going to come from Lee Spencer.
Just kind of curious, what have you been able to pick up from Kurt Busch? I'm thinking as a mentor that there are certain areas that you may not have had access to someone of his caliber of racing in the past to lean on, and I'm just kind of wondering how he has been as a teammate.
Yeah, Lee, it's been incredible. I think obviously I should have been very nervous about truly working with him day in and day out. I've been around CGR for a few years, and we've passed, and I've sat in on meetings, I've sat in on debriefs and pre-race meetings and conference calls and DIL sessions. I've done all that, but I was never the driver of the Cup car, and I was worried how that might change. And it did change, but it was truly, and I don't just say this because we're teammates or I'm a homer for CGR, right? It truly did change for the better, and I didn't realize how much more there was there to get. He's truly has forgotten more things at his elder age than I've ever learned. And so anything I go to him with is been incredible. It's just like how he articulates things are just not how I've ever been able to do that. And I, maybe wasn't taught at an early age how to truly articulate my feelings and my thoughts and truly put them out there in a way that a group of people listening can understand. So I've struggled with that, and just the way he walks in the shop, the way he approaches people, like when you step back and I'm, COVID restrictions, our cars are prepared halfway across the shop from each other so the two teams can be socially distanced. And like you look over there and you watch him walk 20 feet, nobody sees him coming, and he walks up to his guys. How he walks up to them and how he approaches them and how he interacts with them is different than how I've done it. So just watching little things like that, let alone asking him, how do I talk to this driver? Hey, can I have this phone number? What should I say when I call this guy? All that stuff. It's endless what I've gotten out of him.
Appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, our next question is going to come from Mitchell Brewer. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Ross, what is your mindset heading into this week's All-Star Open, and how do you approach that race?
Yeah, well, I'll learn a lot from the truck race. So fortunately, I'm running the 45 truck for Nice Motorsports with Circle B diecast and out in East. So anytime I get to run that thing, I'm excited, and it's like a family to me. We are family, basically. And so from there, I'll get to go right into the Open, the next day. So I already have time in the PJ1 and the spray and the track and pit road. And not that in our Open we'll be making green flag pit stops, but just all the little things, just clean up on Texas. We do DIL simulators with the team. iRacing now came so far now that I have a proper, a real rig that's truly giving me better feedback. That's been a game changer. And all that said, it's still on track stuff that gets me the most. That's where I feel like I just learn so much when I'm on the actual track I'm about to race. So, yeah, expectations are we start 5th in the Open, drive up to the lead, win the Open, get in the All-Star race, go race with my heroes.
And how much of a confidence builder can that truck series race be for you?
It's big. Yeah. What we've been able to do over the years in these motorsports was nothing short of incredible in 2019, and now we expect that. But it's still our same group of boys and girls there. And when they go to the track, there's hardly anybody left at the shop. Now there is. When we were racing in 2019, there was nobody left at the shop, and we would go to the track. Like our first win at Kansas, one of them hollered to me like, "Hey, thank the guy back at the shop." And I did, not even real. I forgot, like there's nobody there. I was thinking nobody, because everybody was at the track for 2 trucks at that time. So yeah, it is. And I love Out East. I love Cody Efaw, and obviously they did a lot for me over the years. And anytime we get to race together, feels like it was when I was growing up in my family. And, I had an uncle doing decals, and I had my granddad jacking the truck up, the fast truck up, my pro truck to change the tires before qualifying. Like, it's just family, and that's how Nice feels.
Thank you, and best of luck this weekend.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Cole. Go ahead, Cole.
Thank you, Amanda. Hey, Ross. Taking out the 600, it seems like CGR as a whole, but your team specifically has really turned a corner. Is there any rhyme or reason for this, whether it be things falling your way, new routines, or like comfortability in the cup car, stuff like that?
No new routine. We've stayed on our path, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that we didn't change, we didn't defer, we didn't get down. Really, most of y'all have seen it. I live with a bit of a chip on my shoulder, and the chip has kind of shifted from wanting to beat people to here just wanting to compete in the Cup Series. And like, I know what I need to do, and I know what Josh Wise and Chevrolet and what the plans they lay out for us are custom for each of us, but like how we should approach stuff and how we can look at it from a different view. Like, didn't need to change the effort. I couldn't try any harder. If I ran 23rd at Las Vegas versus 7th at Sonoma, there's nothing I did different in those 2 weeks. But Las Vegas, I felt like my world was ending because I truly ran 23rd and come out of Sonoma with a 7th, and I'm feeling good. But I didn't change this week either. Like, going into the All-Star, into the Open, like, we're going to race in the B main, right? We want to go race with guys that I've looked up to my whole life, my heroes. So I can't change my effort. And I think that was the biggest reason why it's coming around. Stuff is hard. It's really hard. And I'm not shy to say it. It's taken me a little while to figure it out.
Thank you. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, our next question is going to come from, I believe, Claire. Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I didn't ask a question yet because I was on another call, and I'm sorry I'm a little bit late.
No, go ahead.
Okay, let me ask you about how much you feel like you have to be aggressive in the All-Star Open, and whether you feel like, I mean, you're an aggressive driver anyway, but would you add to that being the Open to get into the All-Star race?
Well, Claire, I want to go race with my heroes. I've said that a few times. I want to race with the guys I've looked up to, but I can only do what the car can do, and I can only do what my capabilities are. So low power. I know some of the guys. I know Reddick has been down in the dumps about this package. Like, I'm good. Like, it's the same for everybody. So I know we're bringing the best race car we can. We're not shorting anything. We're not taking it lightly this week. Like, my guys are still there early. They were still there Monday morning getting ready. Like, we got home from Sonoma at 4 a.m. and they were in there early Monday, like earlier than I could have gotten there. And they've stayed late, like they're working. So I'm going to go drive the best I can. I can't drive any harder though. And yeah, whether I'm aggressive or not, I would say I have been, and I'm trying to find a happy spot with that.
That's a good answer. I want to ask you too, do you like a complicated format for the All-Star race? There's a couple of inverts. I don't know. Do you like the inverts? Are you like, give it to me, this should be fun? Or are you like, huh?
Both. I am. I'm like, yeah, it's the All-Star race. I mean, you watch the One Hot Night, right, series, or the little documentary deal they did on it, and all the different people that were there for the first All-Star race under the lights. And it's like, okay, like it probably was crazy to them to be doing that, but now it's just normal. So inverts and all this, like, yeah, it's crazy. It's odd. I can't keep up with it. I don't even know whose idea it was. It seems like everybody points their fingers at each other of the three kind of groups that have control over that. But for me, I just drive, like, no different than Sonoma, right? I didn't know when we were pitting. I didn't know what lap. I didn't know what our strat. Like, I drive. They tell me how much farther. All right, pit. All right, go drive. How much farther, pit. And so it'll be the same way with the Open for me.
And even though you guys really know what you're doing, was it hard this week to figure out the format? A lot of the drivers earlier in the week just are like, I don't even know what it is.
I do not know. I will not lie to you. I do not know what the All-Star format is.
When do you figure it out? Or like you said, they tell you?
I mean, all I can do is drive the race car. I do know, like, one of them, they're only going to invert 8 to 12. So I'm guessing you want to be 12th or higher, but you just drive. Like, if you're worried about all that, I don't have enough mental capacity to think about anything but driving the race car. And you throw in low horsepower, so more on throttle through the corner, and hopefully I'm not sliding enough where I have to lift more than I have in the past. And then VHT or PJ1 or whatever, the spray, like, is it activated? Is it not? I have a truck race to think about. I'm not worried about an invert or anything else except driving race cars, which makes me have the coolest job in the world.
Thank you, and good luck. Have some fun with it, okay?
Yeah, thanks, Claire.
All right, our next question is going to come from Mark Garrow. Go ahead, Mark. All right, Mark, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm good. I talked to him there a little bit ago. I'm good. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Took my hand raised.
No,
Sorry about that.
No problem. I just wanted to double check. All good. All right, Sean, do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah,
Go
Ross.
ahead.
Yeah, Ross, what would it mean to advance to the All-Star race, should you on Sunday?
It's my heroes, man. I get to race with them every week, but they're the guys that have established themselves in the sport, and that's where I want to be. I don't want to be forever in my career racing into the All-Star race. I want to earn a spot by winning a race, right? That's the easiest and simplest way to do it. So, yeah, I don't know. I won't know that feeling until we get there. I can tell you I probably will not be as subdued and cool about it as a lot of guys that win the Open or run however they get in. Like, it's going to be a big deal. And it's not taken lightly on me that I get to go compete in the Cup Series this weekend, let alone try to make it into the All-Star race with, like, a legitimate shot. I've ran the Open before, but there was no real effort to make the race, right? It was to get laps at Charlotte. It was to get laps ahead of the Coke 600 the next week. So now to get to do that is it's not lost on me. So it will not be a calm moment if we're able to get in.
And then the last question I had for you is you were talking a little earlier about, grading your season so far and where you think you are and how you're doing. Should you advance into the All-Star race, would that start to change your perception about how your season is going just a little bit?
Our season's been heading in the right direction ever since we left Las Vegas, and that was the turning point. We had a lot of honest conversations with ourselves, so it would just be another step, right? It's and I don't think missing it is going to necessarily mean we're, something happens. Like, it happens. It's a race. It's not like it's called racing, not winning. So there's a step to be gained, but it's not like we're not taking a step back if we don't make it. It's not like it's make it or else. It's we're going to do our best, and we're going to go hopefully have a fast race car and drive up there and make it. But no, there's definitely a step to be gained though, and I don't like being still, so I want to step up.
Thanks, man. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
All right, Ross, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Best of luck this weekend. The opportunity to take home an extra $1 million is not a bad thing. So best of luck, and we appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda.